Is the job market totally screwed this year, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? This is exactly what we're going to unpack in today's video. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be some financial economic expert, but I do spend a lot of time listening to those people who are the most prolific in various industries, macroeconomics, business, etc., understanding how thought leaders are breaking down the impact AI and broader macroeconomic trends will have on the job market, because just like you, I care about creating stability for my future and my family. And I know you do too. So that's what we're going to unpack in this video. You're going to leave knowing exactly what the top experts across various industries think about the job market. What does that mean for you in your career, and how can you set yourself up best to not only survive the next few decades, but thrive? So the first expert we're going to look at here is Reid Hoffman. Reid Hoffman was the founder of LinkedIn. He famously predicted the rise of social media and many of the impacts it was going to have on our culture and society over several decades. He recently made a claim that your 9 to 5 will no longer exist by 2034.
You may not only work at multiple companies in your career, you may work at multiple industries. Industries are changing, your own path changes. You may not actually, in fact, do a lot of your work fully as an employee. You may actually be working in the gig economy, or you may have 2 or 3 gigs.
What does he mean by this? When we unpack his recent statements, he doesn't say that you're going to be unemployed forever, but there is going to be a big shift, which I actually believe and have the same belief on this topic specifically, is that traditional 9 to 5s will go away and gig work will become the norm. What does this mean? Rather than one company paying you $100,000, it's going to be on you to basically be an entrepreneur and go create value in a fractional way for companies. This trend has already started with Fiverr and these other platforms, but even me as an entrepreneur today, there's way more value, and I get way more value for my dollar if I hire a firm for $2,000 or $5,000 a month to manage my marketing. I don't need them for a full 40 hours a week most of the time, especially as AI tools get better and better. We don't need that full-time work. We're down for a couple hours a week of work from these people to deliver high value to us at a lower pay threshold. So that company, they can still go out and get multiple contracts as a marketing agency and create their income, but I don't have to pay as much for that. So that is a trend I see happening very significantly. More and more companies are going to be started on the back of AI. It's going to be much easier to build and start a company. So building off Reid's take, I agree and believe that companies are going to scale faster and farther with less people. So the average big company will have way less employees, but more and more companies will spin up needing marketing, needing SEO, needing developers, but much more frequently in a fractional capacity. We'll talk more about this at the end of the video of what it means for you and how you can prepare. But that's Reid Hoffman's take, is that the 9 to 5 is dying. It won't be here in a decade, and fractional gig-based work is going to be the norm for most people. Second is Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is one of the most prolific macro investors in the world. He's made an insane amount of money for his clients. He's one of the most wealthy people in the world. And he talked a lot about macroeconomic trends and what's coming. So he has a belief that we're in this fourth turn of the US economy and market. And he has, in the next decade, a 40% chance likelihood that the US is either going to fall into civil war and have an internal reset, or get into a legitimate war with China. So 40% chance that either or both of those things happen over the next decade. So yes, this video is about the job market, but the job market is directly correlated with the overall economy. So what does this mean? Whether these things happen or not specifically, there's a lot of uncertainty and unrest about what's going to happen, because if either of those things happen, there's a big war, there's a lot of internal conflict that will dampen the economy and reduce the amount of jobs available. So again, while there's not a direct action you need to take because this may happen, what it does invite is a bit of time pressure. I feel this for myself, but it's like, okay, over the next 5 to 10 years, what do I need to do to set myself up financially? And again, later in this video, I'm going to share some resources. I'm going to share more about my story, how I 5x my corporate income last year and parlayed it into this 7-figure business that I now run. I'm going to teach you some strategies about how you can do the same. So that's Ray Dalio's take. There's a lot of uncertainty and potential, a lot of instability coming, and we only have a few years to really capitalize on that. Now, the last two here are Tom Bilyeu and Raoul Pal. I watched a long conversation between the two of them on YouTube, and I want to share my take and perspective on it. Raoul is a futurist thinker. He's into crypto, but he really understands the macro economy deeply and has spent decades studying it. His take is really unique because while a lot of people have a pretty negative prediction of how AI will affect the economy, he actually sees it as having a massive impact in a positive sense on the economy. So similar to my take on Reid Hoffman's approach, which is that we will see insane scale at these companies because of AI is basically infinite manpower that will grow and scale companies basically on autopilot. The outlook for the economy actually seeing a ton of stimulus where the GDP could theoretically double in a week. So again, whether that happens or not, Raul is very bullish on AI actually having a really positive impact on the economy overall, which does make sense if these companies are hyper productive. They're able to churn out new products at scale extremely quickly that will generate more revenue. But the reality is that we don't know. So again, the common through line for me in all of these expert opinions is uncertainty is coming. We have maybe 5-10 years max before the world is completely unrecognizable. Empower ourselves as leaders, double, triple, quadruple our income so we can have a financial foundation to weather whatever storm is coming, but also adapt. And the last thing I want to call out here that Tom Bilyeu is very adamant of making a big focus is the debt crisis that's happening in America. And again, all these other people, Ray Dalio specifically, brings this up and highlights it as one of the biggest underlying drivers of the potential of civil war and or conflict with China. Not saying that these things are going to happen. Don't want you to think I'm some alarmist or conspiracy theorist, but they could happen, right? And with the debt crisis, honestly, our interest payments are growing and growing and growing. So there's really no way we're going to get out of this without printing a ton of money, meaning that the value of the dollar as is going to drop and drop and drop. So it's extremely important to be investing into things that as inflation rises, that store of value grows as well. So if you're only working a 100K job right now, which might seem good on paper, if you don't have savings or a lot of that money invested into assets, whether it's stocks or real estate that will raise in value with inflation, so you're mildly protected when that happens, you could be in a big issue because likely what's going to happen over the next decade is we have to just keep printing money to manage our debt and the value of the dollar drops drastically. So let's loop all this back together. What can we take away from Ray Dalio, Reid Hoffman, Raoul Pal, Tom Bilyeu, all these people who spend a lot of time thinking about macroeconomic forces and have generated billions of dollars combined? So a few things. One, the job market has maybe 5 to 10 years left for you as you understand it today to make a good amount of money. So even if you're earning 100K, 200K, I would challenge you to see what could it look like to double that or even triple it over the next few years. How can you do that? For us, personally, I went from earning 80K as a product manager to 390K as a product manager working 3 full-time jobs last year. It was not my long-term goal for you. It might sound interesting, but we challenge people to leverage AI, just like Reid Hoffman is saying, to have multiple employers. If you're interested in that, you can book a call with me and my team, short 15-minute convo, just to understand your goals, see if what we do is a fit for you. But that is one of the best ways to triple your income without needing to start a business, without the risk, without the capital. You tomorrow can start interviewing for new roles, stacking jobs on your current jobs, make sure you're remote. So you still have the ability to work remotely and enjoy your time with your family and not work crazy hours. But that is my strategy. We help 40 corporate professionals stack multiple roles. So if that's of interest to you, book a call because we want to see you not only survive, but thrive over the next decade. See you later.